As for the pandemic, the issue of education and the disparities has really been magnified.
Colette Forrest wants to give her son Bobby the world, but giving him a quality education hasn't been easy. COVID's historic shutdown of U.S. schools left kids who look just like Bobby at a disadvantage. In fact, students of color on average are headed back to school 6 to 12 months behind this year. That's because schools in black neighborhoods are the most likely to suffer from the digital divide, strain resources, and have the most experienced teachers.
If 70% of white children in this community were failing, would everybody be okay with that?
COVID didn't create the racial achievement gap in America's schools, but has definitely widened it. Each year, districts spend more than $2,200 less on each minority student than on each white student. That's according to the Civil Rights Data Collection.
All of us must do better for our children.
It's feeding what concerned parents and activists call education genocide. The Charlotte-Mecklenburg School District is just a textbook example. More than 40 of the district's underperforming schools happen to be in predominantly black neighborhoods. At one point, Mecklenburg County leaders even considered withholding millions of dollars of funding because there didn't seem to be a clear-cut plan to bridge the achievement gap.
I would hope and pray that it sets a precedent all around America that the communities stand up for children, just like the courts have with Brown versus the Board of Education, like Swan versus the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Board of Education, and like currently Leandro. We're all saying we haven't done enough to help these failing kids who predominantly are black and brown children.
We have got to stop on this treadmill of the cycle of poverty and underachievement, because we have great talent, we have great opportunity, we have great potential in every single child in America. We're not realizing that the way we're doing it now.
Those same underperforming schools typically have faulty ventilation and fewer windows, putting children and their teachers at a greater risk for COVID-19. It also can't be ignored that since COVID affects blacks at an alarming rate, our children are more likely to have witnessed illness and death during the pandemic. Psychologists argue the fear, grief, and stress only add to poor academic performance.
And I was seeking to try and understand and gain meaning from the resurrection this morning.
Reverend Jordan Boyd with the African American Faith Alliance for Educational Advancement worries there is no real plan to get children of color caught up post-COVID.
What is your plan post-COVID? Well, we're waiting to see you don't have to wait to see we already know that the numbers are going to be worse. Do we really need, we knew what they were before. Now you have almost 50% of many African-American, I'm told, boys that weren't accounted for. You need to tell me you need some data to show you just how bad that's going to be. So when we ask, what's the plan for when they come back as to how you're going to address that deficit? Why don't you have mandatory summer schools so that they can get caught up? That would help parents all around bring children back into the school, get them back into a learning environment. Why don't you have that?
One can only hope the spotlight COVID shines on racial injustices can bring excellence and equity to an education system that has already left too many students behind. Reporting from Charlotte, North Carolina, I'm Tonya Rivens.